I love making something out of nothing. I'm not trained, but I am brave and determined. Of course, I could hire a professional, but DIY first. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to episode 5. We are doing cabinets, and this time we're doing them right. So you already know about the catastrophe that happened when I tried to make the upper cabinets. So this time I wanted to be smarter and wiser and learn from my mistakes. And so I started off by cutting the wood, and this time I used 2 different methods. I used the table saw to cut the length of it, and then I used the circular saw with a square to cut the short side of it. And by doing it that way, I think I was able to get a straighter cut, and I didn't have so much wonkiness going on. I also purchased a bigger, more substantial table saw that would allow me to rip cut. I think it's up to 2 feet or 3 feet. I think it's 3 feet, but I'm not really sure. But anyway, it allows me to cut bigger pieces without having to use the circular saw or my other Craig jig that I have, my rip cut jig. And I think that allowed me to get a straighter cut. And also I didn't worry about trying to cut off the edges this time. And I think that was another difference that where I messed up the last time. So I did not do that. In order to find the location for the drawer slides, I used a technique where you take a ruler and you put the ruler on a diagonal and you place it on an easy number like 4 or 6, an easy number that's easily cut in half, and then you mark the halfway number to get the middle of the piece. Now I know that there are jigs that you can make that will help you get the center point on a piece of wood, but I don't have one of those and I didn't want to make one, so this is what I came up with. I didn't come up with it, I saw the suggestion somewhere else online, but so it did work. It worked just fine. So I think I put it on either 4 or 6 and marked the middle point in 2 or 3 different places, and then I drew a line to connect those points, and I was able to find the center for the drawer slide. So I'm putting on a clear coat because, as you know, I have a phobia of mold, and so I like to seal everything. Plus these are drawers, and so you want to seal the inside of your drawers anyway because, you know, stuff is going to be hitting up against it and all of that, so that just protects the wood from any you know, it's easier to clean it if you've sealed it and put a clear coat. So I just use a clear poly there. I'm making frameless cabinets, and a lot of times when you see a cabinet design, it will have you cut out a 4 by 4 inch square at the bottom of the cabinet for the toe kick. But the method that I'm using, I'm not making a toe kick into the plywood. I am building a platform that will then serve as a toe kick. What I was told is that it's easier to level everything if you have everything in one piece. So you level the riser that is now the toe kick, and then you just sit the cabinet on top of it. So if the cabinet is square and level, it will be level. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just building a platform that will serve as the toe kick, just out of scrap 2 by 4 pieces that I had that I thought would work. And so for all of the bottom cabinets, I did not want this black hole experience that I had before with the old cabinets. The old cabinets were just just a cavity there that stuff just ended up piling up in, and you kind of had to crawl around on the floor to get all of the stuff in the back, and it was just not a good design. And so for this makeover, I decided to use drawers on all of the lower cabinets. And so I decided to put the slides on the pieces of the cabinet before I assemble. I thought that would be easier. It's easier for me to get even spacing and all of that if I can just lay everything out together and mark all the points together, and then I know that the one on the left is at the same level as the one on the right, and we're not coming into those kinds of problems. So I put the drawer slides on first. Additionally, I used a ledger board. So a ledger board is just a board that you have put all of your markings on so that you don't have to continually measure and remeasure. And so you just use one board with all of your measurements and everything, and then you can just put that beside each piece to mark it, and then you know everything is the same. So that's another technique that I used to try to make sure these lower cabinets were done as well as possible. And so then the installation of the lower cabinets was pretty straightforward. You just sit them on the riser, and I did attach, I think I attached the cabinets to the riser at the bottom, but yeah, you just sit them there, and then you're going to screw the cabinets into the wall, and that's going to secure everything. The riser is also screwed into the wall, so that kind of holds it steady and holds it in place. And I wanted to build a cabinet surround around the refrigerator. Previously, there was no cabinet there, and we would just stack stuff on top, and it's a very nice dust collector. And so I did not want to do that. I don't really enjoy having unusable space or spaces that don't really function well. And so I decided to build this huge cabinet. I did it in place, and it was a struggle. I built the pieces just in my kitchen, and when it was time to stand it up, it was kind of tall. So I think some of that footage of me trying to get it in place may have been lost, along with some of the other stuff that was lost. But yeah, that cabinet, it was some work. But the upper cabinet over the refrigerator, I wanted to make that space functional, so I built it all the way up to the ceiling, basically. And that's going to be used for deeper storage, like cutting boards, cookie sheets, baking pans, and things like that. Those things, they have some depth to them, so if I put them over the refrigerator, they will be out far enough for me to still be able to reach them, and that area is deep enough to be able to store them sideways, and they can take up the whole length. And I think that's a great use of the space over a refrigerator. So those things don't have to be like in the little drawer under the stove or something like that. So that's what I decided to do there. I have not built out that space yet, so those things, I just have like a rack that you can get at Amazon. That's what's in there now, but I do intend to finish that cabinet out and create the vertical storage for those cookie sheets and baking pans, but also have a shelf at the top for a larger piece, kind of thin, to go up there as well. So I'll be doing that in phase 2. Status update. Got the drawer slides in. I have all of the second pieces attached to all of the pieces, and I put these in just to get a measurement of the distance from here to here, so I can cut the front and back pieces of each drawer for all of them. I'm using ledger board that I took measurements on to mark the distance for each drawer. These are virtually the same, so I'll probably use the same measurement for all of these. And this is for the cabinet over there. So it's coming along. I think for me, using this ledger board has been a game changer. This side I used to actually make the carcass pieces, and I did all my measurements on here. And so this side I'm using for the front and back of the drawers, and then I'll use the actual pieces here and one piece of the bottom one to make sure the what do you call this, the height of the drawer pieces are the same. Anyway, that's what we're doing. Okay. For the drawer bottoms, I know sometimes people will route out or will cut out a sliver into the wood so you can slide the 1/4 inch piece into the wood and secure it that way. But I did not do that. I've not done that before, so I was like, we're not gonna try no new technique on this kitchen. We messed up the first time, we're not doing it again. So what I decided to do was to just glue the bottom of the drawer down and just brad nail it to hold it in place while glue secures. And I just used a 1/4 inch piece of plywood for the bottom of each drawer. I made sure the drawer was square before I glued it, and that's the only thing that's glued with these lower cabinets. I did not glue the actual pieces of the cabinet together. Those are just screwed in, and I honestly have not had any problems with the cabinets or the drawers. Like, it's a really solid bond, and because I made sure they were square when I glued them, I haven't had any problems with that either. So since I'm doing the frameless cabinets, then I needed to, camouflage the front of it. Again, normally you could use edge banding or wood if you wanted to on the front of the plywood to hide that raw edge of the plywood, but I did not do that. Y'all know me, I'm going simple, so I used the premium wood filler, and you just like putty it on, slather it on there, and then you can sand it smooth, and now it's ready for paint. And since I was painting these, I felt like that was good enough. If I was going to stain the cabinets, obviously I would have used either edge banding or put some wood trim in the front of that to camouflage that. But since it's being painted, I didn't really need to do all of that. And I could also, any cracks or anything like that that I wanted to fill in, I just did that at the same time. And again, I haven't had any problems with that. It stayed in place and it accepted the paint just fine, no problem. So that's the end of episode 5, where I learned from my mistakes and I made lower cabinets, and honestly, I'm very proud of myself. I think that the next episode will be the last of this phase, and then we have to jump back into the work. So I have actually taken a little bit of a break while I've been kind of processing through some of this old footage, but I have set a goal for myself to have this kitchen completely done by Thanksgiving, which is about 90 days-ish away. So it's time to get back to work. But we got one more episode of the old stuff and we will be up to date. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss anything. I welcome your feedback and comments. And I'm just like, let me just say, for those of you who have been watching my videos, like honestly, I'm dumbfounded. But the comments, like you guys are so sweet. And I just, I'm just eternally grateful. And you guys give me the confidence to continue doing this, and so I really want to say thank you. So anyway, again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.